Hi everyone, welcome to this podcast for the WJEC GCSE English Language Unit 1 exam. This is for the foundation, and then this podcast will be looking just at question 1. So for the exam, we've got 2 texts to read. We've got 4 questions about those 2 texts, and each of the questions is worth 10 marks. That makes the exam out of 40. So the important thing to know about that is that it's not like the AQA paper where one question's worth 12 and another question's worth 8. Because they're all weighted the same, that means we should be spending about a quarter of the time on each question. So this Mr. Bean here is telling us that we should be writing half a page to a page for each question. I would probably say between 3/4 of a page and a page. So no one should be writing less than half a page, because that means you're not going to get the marks, you're not going to get all the quality in there you need, and probably you shouldn't be writing more than a page, because it probably means you're going to be spending more time on that than you should be. So question 1. So the main difference between question 1 on the foundation paper and the higher paper is on the foundation paper, all we really need to do is bullet point our answers, or we can have one-word answers on certain questions. So question 1 on the foundation would always be information retrieval. And there's 2 examples. So it'll either be a question like this where you get one question and then it'll be A, B, C, D, E, F, and you just literally have to answer them. It's all in the text, there's no hidden things that you're looking for. Or you'll get a list question. So read this fact sheet opposite, list 10 threats facing mountain gorillas according to the fact sheet. So if you get that one, then all you need to do is note down your answers. So you just bullet point 10 things. A little tip I would do is to make sure you get the 10 pointers, I would see if you could bullet point maybe 12 things. So that means if you repeat something, you don't quite get the right end of the stick on one, you've got those 2 almost in the bank as backups. So what you've got to make sure you do is you don't spend too long on one document so you're struggling for questions 3 and 4. Make sure you spend a quarter of a time on each question. In that time is reading the 2 texts. So you've got to make sure that you read both texts thoroughly. So the first 3 or 4 minutes you should just be reading the first text. Don't try to skim through, just read all the way through. And what I would do is bring highlighters into the exam, and I would highlight the key points while you read. So the foundation paper we're looking at is from 2014, and so basically last year, and it's to do with shark and shark attacks. And here's the front of the paper from last year, so they all tend to look the same. So it's the name and the date, and it also tells us to bring a black or a blue pen, but like I said, you can answer on the question paper itself, on the actual text sheet, you can highlight over it the key points. So here's the text I want you to read. Like I said, it's June 2004. So if you've got that paper, I've given you all a paper, you should have this one. If for some reason you haven't got it, they're on the WJEC website, or if you can just read it from this, pause the video now, and then I will put up the questions. So pause the video now. So after reading that document, I'll quickly show you the 4 questions that you've got. Notice that some of these are talking about the other text. Obviously we can't look at them, but 1 and 2 are on shark attack, and the comparison question at the end would include the shark attack. But if we're just looking at number 1 in this podcast, so we have a closer look at number 1. So here are our questions. So read the internet article in the separate resource material, shark attacks. Obviously, you've got to make sure you read the right document, because sometimes they maybe ask you questions about the second document first. So just making sure the title at the top is the one I asked you to read. So using information in the internet article, answer the following questions. A. Which countries had the most shark attacks since records began? B. Which countries had the most fatal shark attacks since records began? C. Give 2 duties of a lifeguard. D. At what times of the day do sharks feed? E. What food does the whale shark eat? F. Give 4 reasons why a shark may attack a human. So notice down here we've got the marks, haven't we? So we've got A is out of 1, B is out of 1, C is 2, D is 1, E is 1, and F is 4. So obviously for the first one you can just make 1 point and so on. So obviously in the last one you're making 4 points, and in the lifeguard one you're going to be making 2 points. So the important thing to note is there's two ways of doing this. You can either literally answer the question just one word, so which countries have the most shark attacks since records began, and then write down the country. Or you could almost rephrase the question, so you could say the country that has had the most shark attacks since records began is, and then put the country. I don't think it matters too much which one you would do, but make sure that you write it out as the text says. So if the country, I'm not saying it is, if the country is the United Kingdom, don't write down England, don't write down Britain, write down exactly how it is, United Kingdom. I want you now to try and answer these questions. So either flick back like this on the YouTube video, or if you've got the text you can answer them yourselves. So I want you to have a go now, pause the video, and I will carry on straight away and talk about the answers. Okay, so here are the answers to question 1 at the foundation level. So A is United States of America, B is Australia, C, the lifeguard's duties are to check on your safety for 1 mark and to look for signs of shark in an area, 1 mark. The sharks eat on meal times at dawn and dusk, so you obviously need both of them for the 1 mark. So the food that they eat is plankton, and then down here you get 1 mark with a maximum of 4, so obviously you can only get 4 marks. However, there was 6 things in the mark scheme that they said you could have written down. So they will eat just about anything. If they mistake humans for a seal, they are protecting their territory, they are attracted by the smell and taste of blood, they confuse jewellery with fish scales, it is curious. The markers at JUEC and any exam board are very tight on the mark scheme, so if you've got something that isn't quite right, you may not get it. So you've got to write it as it is in the text. Remember, question 1 is just information retrieval. You haven't got to delve too deeply. You've literally just got to grab that information out of the text. So if you look here, I've actually highlighted the answers, so just to show you that it's all in the text. So since records have been kept, the United States has recorded the highest number of shark attacks. So don't put America, you won't get the right answer. The highest number of fatal shark attacks in Australia. The lifeguard duties here to check on your safety and to look for signs of sharks in the area. Dawn or dusk is when they sort of meal times. Plankton, and I haven't highlighted the other 4, but they're definitely in there. So if you got 100%, well done. Remember, at foundation level, you need about 26 or 27 out of 40. So you cannot lose marks. So this is the easiest question on the paper by a mile. So you can't lose marks here. We really want to be getting 100% for this question. So here are 4 student responses. So if we look at this one here, this is the perfect 10 out of 10. So like I said, you can either write down the answer, just the United States, that will give you the mark. But if you want to rephrase the question, that's fine too. So the United States has recorded the highest number of shark attacks. If you'd have just put United States, that would have got the mark too. This one here, even though it's in a paragraph, if you just bullet pointed these 4, that would be the same as well. Okay, so the one below got 9. So in F here, it just misses that 1. So because they haven't got that point, it's only 9 points. This question here got 8 points. So there was 1 missing, dawn till dusk. So they didn't put dawn till and dusk, they just put dawn. And here they've sort of hedged their bets a bit and they haven't put Australia, they put Australia or South Africa. So they lose 2 marks. And this one here got 6. So they haven't been clear here, they haven't really answered the question. They got 1 E wrong. So they got that, they mixed that up with a different kind of shark. They didn't put plankton. And also they're missing 2 reasons from F. So if you look at response 2, response 3 and response 4, these are all really stupid errors that I don't want any of you guys to make. Here's the perfect answer, so pause that if you want to have a look at it, but hopefully you got something like that. So the next foundation question I want us to look at, and I'm going to get you to do it on your own really, I'm not going to talk too much about it. All it is picking information, is about the pandas and the wildlife. So basically I want you to read this fact sheet, so pause this, read it, and I'll give you a question. So the question here is the second kind of information retrieval I talked at the beginning of the video. List 10 threats facing mountain gorillas according to the fact sheet. So in this text, there is 10 threats that mountain gorillas face, and all you've got to do is bullet point and give me those 10. Remember I said at the beginning of the podcast, if you can find 12, that's brilliant. Just in case if you missed 1 or missed 2, we've got backup. So pause. Here are the answers. So all of these things are in the text. Okay, I'm going to show you one more foundation. So this one is about a schoolboy, a bit like the picture there, a schoolboy who's earned £200 by selling chocolate, and because of that he's been suspended. So I want you to read it through. Okay, here's your question. So very similar to the first one we just looked at. All you got to do is answer your question. So pause. Okay, and there are your answers. So the three texts, one of them is slightly different to the other, but all of them are just grabbing information. Like I've said a few times in this podcast, this is the easiest one. It's not asking you to do anything clever. All you've got to do is grab that information out of a text, similar to a functional skills reading exam, and just write down your answer. If you do everything that we have discussed in this podcast, you will get 100% for the first question in your exam and giving you an absolutely fantastic start. I will do videos for the remaining 3 questions on the foundation and higher and put them on my YouTube this week, ready for revision for the exam on June the 2nd. Any questions, let me know or leave me a comment in the YouTube section on this video. Thanks very much.